Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Tuesday topic, joined by McPartland. We're going to discuss this managerial bollocks that's going on at the moment. The candidates, basically. The odds with Ladbrokes, because they are nice to us this season. I just took the odds off there. Sean Dyche, let's start with him. He's the favourite at the moment for the Everton job. He's currently 2-1. Burnley manager. He's been there for 5 years now. Done a good job. I think that's accepted. He's done a good job. Is he someone who fills you with excitement at becoming the Everton manager, or
he's not excitement as such? But as time's gone on, I have warmed to the idea of it because I think he is ready for that next level. Whether Everton is that step, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
But I think in terms of where we're at the moment, I think he'll get us organised. I think he'll stop the goals going in, but it's just the fact that our attacking players and sort of big name players, he's never really had that at Burnley before. So it's very difficult. I compare it very much to David Moyes at Everton. That he's got the basics and he's got a good team of hard-working players. They get every second ball and they fight. But if he comes into that Everton team, we don't have those players. And I just worry that if we're a team with ambition, wanting to get the top four, it's a big risk because we don't. Dyche might be amazing with attacking players, but based on the evidence so far, all he does is he sets up, doesn't he? And I think we said before that the away record last year wasn't great, and the home record this year isn't great at Burnley, and it's just there are a lot of risks with it, I think, and I don't think he's ready for a step up. But I think Everton may be a step too far at the moment.
Okay, is there a feeling he's Moyes 3.0? Because that's
I think so.
That's kind of my feelings with him. I think he's a good manager. Don't get me wrong, he's done great for Burnley. They've been brilliant away from home this season, like you just rightly said. They ain't been great at Turf Moor. Whereas last season, I think they won 11 home games or something, or 12 home games. So they were quite good there last year. So he hasn't been able to marry that together. And you do wonder, we haven't got, I mean, Michael Keane might be delighted to see him come bouncing in the door, but we haven't got the players that can dig in the way Burnley have at the moment, have we? But on the flip side of that, he hasn't got the attacking players that we've got. So it is difficult, I think, to get a real feel of how he would be with this current.
I think if Mashiri hadn't come into Everton with all this money, I think Dyche would be perfect to keep us in that seventh. Work well with a limited budget, because that's what he's done at Burnley. Obviously, compared to the Moyes days, he's got a bit more money to spend in the Premier League era, so to speak. But he's taking players from the Championship, isn't he? And he's improving them, and they're a team. And I think that's what worries me about Everton at the moment, and it worried me even under Martinez, that we're a team of individuals, and when the going gets tough, there's not that team togetherness, I don't think.
No.
And I think he would bring that in, but as I say, I think the players we've got aren't suited to him, and so I think it would, if we did appoint him, I wouldn't be too disappointed, but I think it means we rip everything up and we start again, and we take a completely different path, and whether the path we want, we'll definitely stop goals. And I think Jordan Pickford, I think, is going to be one of the best goalkeepers in world football, not just the Premier League, and I think we've got a good base. I think if we can get another centre back, we can really become a solid unit. But I just think maybe we need someone who can have an organised team, but good going forward as well. And as I say, Dyche may be that man, but he hasn't proved that yet. So it's a big risk.
It is a risk. I mean, I suppose every manager's a risk. If you bring in, there's varying degrees of risk, of course there is. I think, listen, for Dyche, I just don't know. I don't know. I think you're right. I think he'd have us organised. Even with these players, he'd get us a way of playing to get through to January. What he would do in January then, I don't know. Probably go back for Ben Mee, who wouldn't be who'd be a good signing, partner him up with Keane. Has he got enough to take us forward? I don't know. I mean, my worry is we were kind of sold a picture of Everton being ready to go and try to join these elite clubs.
There was a glamour about it as well, wasn't
the glamour's
there?
We're going to do this. Koeman's there. Box office. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it almost feels like we're kind of rewriting it now and going, actually, let's just be organised and see what happens.
Yeah.
And
I think something with Dyche though is, I think mentality wise, I don't think we'd ever get a knife to a gunfight comment. I think he would understand where, I think he understands where Burnley are.
Yeah.
I think he would understand that with Everton, the expectations are different.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's a manager that makes excuses.
Okay.
I think he knows what's there. So
yeah.
in terms of his mentality and how he thinks and how he sets up, I warm to the idea.
Okay.
But as I said, I think it's just because some of the names we've seen, I think it's made Dyche look better. It's more like, I'd rather have Dyche than him.
Right.
But really, overall, I think there's probably more suitable names for the job.
Okay, well, the man who's currently got it is obviously David Unsworth. He's 9-4 with Ladbrokes at the time of doing this. Obviously, he talks fantastically well. I think if you said to me, I said this I think on another video last week, and I think if you said to me, right, Everton will win a trophy in the next 3 years, hand pick the manager you want to win that trophy for Everton, David Unsworth would hands down be the man I would want to see leading Everton to victory, because he's a blue. He kind of, you said it on the final word, he almost knows us too well. He knows what we expect. I think he loves Everton. He talks about there's no better job, so he's not someone who's going to be going, if I do well here for a couple of years, Man U might come calling, or Arsenal or Barca or whoever. So I think you'd have that continuity there. Can he do it? We don't know. He's took over, he's lost both of his games. I thought we were unlucky at Chelsea. Yeah. I thought we were poor at Leicester. Yeah. With reality speaking. But he's only had a couple of, he's been in the job, what, over a week now, just over a week. Or a week. Which is too early. He's had hardly any time on a training pitch with them. The games, excuse me, games have come thick and fast. This is what you do, Everton. Fucking man flu. So it's hard to kind of critique him in any real way at the moment. I think the players have been shite.
Yep.
Because I think their level is much better than what they've shown at the moment. I think they're all underperforming, probably with the exception of Jordan Pickford and Benny Beningame, who I think has done excellently in the 1.5 games he's been involved in. Unsworth as a candidate for you, yes or no?
I said on Wednesday after the Chelsea game he was the outstanding candidate for me, because I feel that, as we said, every manager's a risk, and I think while there's been so many names linked with the Everton job, there's cons with every single one, and I think that the con with Unsworth was the lack of experience that he's, that's been bandied about. But that showing against Chelsea off one training session, I was really encouraged by that. Sunday worried me, because for the narrative of this season, I think that the thing that's hurt us the most is the lack of width in the team. And for him, 45 minutes into his Premier League debut as manager, to say so much that he's got his own way of playing, this is how I'm going to play, this is, hinted at what had gone wrong previously, to revert back to that within 45 minutes. I know there were reasons for it, but for me, I just thought that was such a glaringly obvious thing of what not to do in terms of trying to come away from what we've struggled with all season. That to me, I just thought, look, is he failing to see what's in front of him? And that to me, I was 100% that out of all the candidates, I wanted him to have a successful interim period to prove to the doubters that he was the man, and he still could. But that Leicester, the change, while I was 100%, I'm now 90, because I think I do understand the reasons that we were more solid, for example, with the changes he made, but I think that was we need that width, and I think we had a bit of success with the width, and for him to change it and basically revert to a Koeman shape 45 minutes in, I thought,
do you think it was a Koeman shape though? Because I don't necessarily agree that it's because we've had no width. I think it's because we've had one striker all season. I think that's been the issue for me. It's not how many times we've got the ball wide. We just isolate our centre forward. We've done it with Lukaku.
I think we've isolated the fullbacks as well. And I think by going to the diamond, I think in the first half.
But he had two strikers though. He played two up front. In fact, he almost had three up front, because Rooney was the tip of the diamond.
I just feel that while there's two up front, being narrow, it takes longer to get there. I think if we'd had the wide man, I don't see the need to be so central.
I get it. I understand what you're saying, but I think I don't know whether he ripped it up, and I don't know whether he's said he'll always play with wingers. He just said he likes to be. He likes to be on the front foot.
I think against Chelsea, that was the definite thing for me.
It was in the first half, but if you actually watch the second half, it changed. The whole shape changed in the second half because we basically had 3 at the back.
Yeah.
You just played 3 at the back because everyone pushed on. I think that's been. I think the problem for me with what's happened this season is we haven't flooded the opposition. Everything's being done slowly. Yeah. I think what they've done is try to do is bring a tempo to the team, and I understand what you're saying because.
But I'd still say overall at this moment in time, while Leicester wasn't great, was it? Yeah. He's still my pick.
Would he be? If we got it, if news come through and it was David Unsworth today, you'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy, yeah, because I think what he's done with the under-23s, yes, it's a different level, and yes, he's not dealing with big egos, which he would in the Premier League. But I think I said it after the Chelsea game. If you know football, you know football, and I just think, like I say, it did worry me a bit that half-time change, but he knows how to set a team up, and I think Everton are a very unique club in the sense that to get everything on board and get going, you need to know about the club. You need to have that connection with the club. I think there's a stat that of the trophies we've won since
the
post-war, they've all been Blues. They've all had that connection with the club, and I think you know, you look at it and look how buoyed we were by the fact that Eberl was back, Ferguson's still there, Joe Royals included. It's so Everton. And I think that gets the best out of the fan base, and you know, you can say it's sentimentality.
Does it get the best out of the players though?
That's the thing, that's the problem. Long term, you look at it and you think, is it going to work? But I think at the moment in time, with the names that have been linked, there are the stellar names, which I think there are cons which we'll come on to, and then there's the other names that I don't think are ready for the step up. And I think Unsworth, because of that connection, it's just another tick next to his name that I think, I think we need that, because I think when it gets tough, Koeman, I think, was all about self-preservation. I think Martinez was as well.
Yeah, of course.
And I think Unsworth, his primary focus is Everton Football Club winning football matches. And I think that will always come first, whether his job's on the line or not. That's his focus.
Just very quickly, I know it's concerned you the fact that he's changed, but I suppose some people would argue with that is that he's tried to be proactive though. He's set it up and he's come in and gone, we're 2 down here. We haven't really laid the glove on them with this formation. Let's see if we can force them back. Let's get another centre forward up there. Let's busy them in their defence and see if we can get up the pitch. And we had 65% possession second half.
A lot of the signs from Unsworth, we've got it, as we've said, he's only had a few days with the team.
Of course.
But I think the signs are there that, I don't know, I just have a good feeling about him. I just think he is a good manager, and you can say, oh, he only won the under-23s, but he's had to beat teams on a similar level. It's not like the Everton players he had were so much better. He's gone up against some of the best academies in English football, and he's won a trophy. And you know, we've seen all
the second this season.
All the young lads who've come in that have played under Unsworth, have any of them been they played that poorly? No, they've all been ready. They've all been ready for first team football. And I think it's similar for Unsworth. I think he's ready for first team football, and the bottom line is, if you know football, you know football. And so he's my favourite still at the moment.
Okay. My favourite is the next one, which is Thomas Tuchel. He's 5-1. And the reason, listen, I've been advocating Thomas Tuchel since 2012. Basically, when he was at Mans. I wanted that he wanted the Everton job before we give it to Martinez, and there was a couple of names now that have said, oh, I actually wanted it, you know, and we didn't. We chose somebody else. And I just think for me with him, I'm always very interested in coaches that are thinking outside and thinking for different ways to coach, thinking of teams with energy. How can we circumnavigate the money? You know, if everyone else has got an unfair advantage, how do we get round that? And he's very much that kind of manager. I understand he can be divisive at times. I understand he can be cold, I believe. But I know that he's had some criticism for the end at Dortmund. We did win them the German Cup, by the way, and he were in the top 2. And he got to the quarterfinals, I think, of the Champions League as well. But he fell out with them because basically they made them play the next day.
He was looking after his players, wasn't he?
Exactly. The bomb went off, and their director of football made them play, and he didn't agree with it, and that was where the split become too far. You know, don't forget he took Klopp had tried to take them down as best he could this last season, got them back to 8th, and Tuchel took them on again. So he's got that European experience. He's won a trophy. I think players would want to play for him because he's a name in Europe. Of course, he's not a big name here, and he's managed in the Champions League. And I think, and the way he sets his teams up, hungry, get about you. However, saying all that, I understand he's a risk.
Yep.
Can he do it in the Premier League? You know, in Germany, and I'm going to level the same arguments at him as what I do with Jurgen Klopp.
Yep.
There's 2 teams in that league, maybe 3. The rest, yeah, it's a competitive league, don't get me wrong, but it ain't nowhere near England. You know, and that's why Jurgen Klopp's come in and found it difficult here, because it's not the same. Everyone can turn you over, regardless.
Yep.
There's no guarantees in England like there are in Germany more so. And would the players respond to him? I don't know. Has he got the players to play the way he wants? Probably not. He'd have to take time. It's building again. So I understand all the negativity around him, but I just feel I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change my mind on him because I've wanted him for so long. And I feel as though he would fit Everton. One more thing with him though is I would always feel that we are in his ultimate destination. Do you know what I mean? And that might not be a bad thing, but
he's in my top 3, top 4. If we got him, I'd be pleased with that.
Yeah.
I think he has stated that he's looking for a Champions League club, and that's the worry. It's if he doesn't, you know, he needs to have the challenge of building a team up, and if he already thinks he's beyond that, then that's a worry for me.
Of course, yeah.
You're spot on what you say about he's forward thinking. He's a thinker. He gets, for example, his defending set pieces, he gets them to hold tennis balls to stop them from pulling shirts. He's very clever like that. He sometimes gets his teams to play on diagonal pitches to encourage his players to make diagonal runs. So he's clever in that. Yeah, he's always thinking. So for me, he's up there, but it is the fallout with the board. He was doing it for the right reason, and that's where it's split. So for me, he's got a very good record.
But who put you off? You said one of your mates had put you off.
Well, I've got a mate who lives in Berlin, and he's always said about how methodical he is.
Yeah.
But there's always a but that follows.
Okay, that's fine.
So, but that, you know, you could.
No, but that's people have different. So what had he said? Because I'm interested to hear.
Well, it is the fact that he's a divisive character. There's elements of Koeman and Martinez with him. I think the stubbornness.
Yeah.
And for example, what he did at Dortmund would annoy Everton fans a lot. He put Rafael Guerreiro, who won the Euros with Portugal, who was a left back.
Yeah.
Played him in defensive midfield all season, and that was apparently something that was hurting the team for much of the season, and it was obvious. And he kept him in.
Kept him there.
And that to me just screams what we've experienced.
But then Pep done it with Philip Lahm, didn't he?
No, it was Philip Lahm. Do you know what I mean? No, I agree. Yeah, it's one of them. He could come in.
I agree with you.
And he could put Baines defensive mid because he's thinking outside the box. And 5 years ago, that would have been spot on. But it's just you wonder whether he'll see a player and think, I'm going to have him at right back, and then if it doesn't work,
he's still going to stay.
We've seen that before, and so it's not. He's definitely high on my list, but it's just a doubt. But as we've said, on every manager, there's a risk.
Yeah.
And so it's just finding the right character for us, really.
I mean, I think you'll find most managers will have that stubbornness, and most of them. I don't know how flexible managers are nowadays to go, I'm ripping that up and going again. You know, Pep.
Yeah.
Stubborn last year, and City were all over the place. Now, okay, he seems to have corrected it in the summer, and they're fantastic now. You know, you see it with Josie. He won't get changed. You know, he will bore you to fucking tears to get the win, but he gets the win. Or goes to He should have gone to Anfield and gone at Liverpool, but he knew that if he left them exposed, he could be. So he went and took a 0-0 and went, it's up to you to beat us. Yeah. You're at home. So, call me all you want, but you're at home. You're miles behind us. So see you after. You know, when he got the result and all that. So managers will do that. You know, and what do we want from a manager? Do we want a manager to go, I'm open to any idea, right, we'll play 3 today, and then we'll go, but he keeps changing it from 4 to 3.
I think it's hard with Tuchel, he would be high on my list at the very top. But because we've been stung a bit by Koeman and Martinez, that's what's making me think, actually, Do we want that? Because as I said about Unsworth, you need that connection, and my biggest worry with him is if he wants Champions League, that to me thinks, well, it's going to be another short-term thing. Either he's successful and he moves on, or he's not successful.
Don't they all want Champions League?
Yeah, but I want them to win Champions League with Everton.
Yeah,
that's what you want as well, and that's what you want.
100%.
You know, I think these 100%. Managers, they have a bit of success and they think, well, that's my level now. And it's like, well, no, come down again and prove yourself. We've got the funds here. If you're as good as you say you are, spend all this money and let's challenge the top six.
Another fella that I really like, but I think he'd be very difficult to get hold of, is Marco Silva. Obviously he's just gone to Watford. Thought he came in at Christmas last year, or just after Christmas, to Hull, and it was Marco who, some people, you know, I remember Paul Mason, you won't be surprised, you know, laughing and who's this clown you've got in now and blah blah blah. Not what Hull need and everything. And ultimately he was proved right, he didn't keep them up, but he went damn close to keeping them up. I thought Hull were excellent, especially Mr. Nias.
Yeah, and the home record as well.
They were very good at home. He's gone to Watford. Watford have started the season really well. I watched them against Chelsea last week. They were Everton, you know, 2-1 up and missed but 4 good chances and then got hammered. But played good attacking, exciting football. Lost at home though last weekend rather to Stoke, which makes you worry straight off.
It's Everton again,
because that's Everton. But he's an exciting young manager. He's what is he, 6-1. I just don't think we could get him out of Watford this early. I really don't. He's been there what, 3 or 4 months. I don't think he'd leave.
He's in my top 4 list as well. He's there with Unsworth and Tuchel. It's one of them where I haven't really entertained the idea, because I think it is going to be so difficult to get him from Watford. But I think with Watford, with their ownership, it's been said that they get a manager and sack him. But this year, a lot of people have said they've got Silva for the long term. So it's a bit worrying, but Macheri's got a lot of money in the bank. Koeman had a contract at Southampton. We were able to get around that. So it's just one of them that whether Silva sees what's happening at Watford, because to be fair, we're talking about risks for us. Silva coming to Everton at this stage is a massive risk for him.
Of course,
huge. So that's where I think the stumbling block is. But in terms of him as a manager, I think he's really good. I think he's had success in Europe as well. I think when he came to Hull, he brought quite a few players over that he'd already worked with, so that could work well for Everton. That with the money we've got, some of the bigger names he managed, that may work for him, so to help him get to know his team. And I think in terms of when I said about Dyche that he's organised, but whether he can work with the attacking players, I think Silva's got both. I think he's organised, but I think he can do more with the attacking players that we've got. So for me, looking at it, I think he'd probably be my top choice if he was easier to attain. And it's just that, you know, in the summer, if you'd have said this Koeman the right man, I think a lot of us would have said 100%. He's done well that year. It's just a shame that we didn't foresee this and could have maybe got in ahead of Watford. But it's one of them things. That's how football works. So for me, he's definitely high on my list, but it's going to be difficult to get him.
It is going to be. I'm with you. I think he's a very bright young coach. He looks like a good manager, but I just don't think he's attainable at the moment. Whether Everton give someone it till the summer, which it seems bizarre saying that in October, because there's still a big chunk of the season left, and it's right in the season. At this time, still in the Europa League, albeit hanging on by a hair.
It'll be interesting as well when he comes to Goodison and Watford. It'll be good to see how he set them up. And
I hope he comes and he's shite.
That's what I'm. And then he just gets written off.
Well, don't just show we win again. Carlo Ancelotti's next 7-1. Listen, fantastic manager, has won everything in Europe, worked with the best players. I'm of the opinion he's on his way down. You know, just listening to Robin and people like that,
that's what
really talking him about what he was like at Bayern at the end. People will laugh at this, and I don't mind, but I liken him to Walter Smith. When we got Walter Smith, I know, bear with me, it kind of makes sense. Walter Smith had done well in Scotland, he won everything and all that, but he was at a stage in his career where it was one of them, do you know what I mean? If Everton would have been a good side, Walter Smith might have been alright. Well, no, he wouldn't, would he, because he played 6 centre-backs. But he was on his way down when we got him, and I feel like Ancelotti's like that. I feel like he's 56, which isn't old, unbelievably. But I just feel as though, has he got the heart to come in and the fight to reinvent Everton? And why would he? He's worked with top players. Could he come in and go, I'll turn Everton round, I'll do this, you know, we'll go again back to basics? Because by what the Bayern players were saying, he actually has very little to do with it, and his trainer's just like,
I think he's completely wrong fit. Everything that we didn't really like Koeman for, I think Ancelotti will be the same. I think he'll be distant. I think he'll have other ambitions maybe, but that's the thing. You look at his CV and whatever he's won, you then look at what Bayern Munich players have said about him, as you've alluded to. They took to training in a park on their own. They put on their own sessions because his was so lacking. And that to me isn't because he's not a good coach, it's because of his enthusiasm maybe. Is he that bothered anymore? And Italian reports linked him to a job in China, and I think as soon as a manager is even contemplating China, that's when it's done, because they're going
I'm not questioning his credentials as a manager, because you'd be stupid to. He's won so many,
but I just think it's the wrong fit. And here, I mean, I think it was Robin he compared his sessions to, like, I think he said the under-9s are better. That to me is huge alarm bells.
It's not what Everton need.
You know, it'd be I mean, when we were going for Koeman, I wrote a piece that we've got to go for Mourinho, go for the best and work your way down. And while Ancelotti is probably the best manager, it's also got to be the right fit. And for me, it's just a no-go.
And I suppose the other thing is, why would he come to Everton? Anyway,
exactly.
At the moment, we're in the bottom 3. We don't look like a team. Why would you risk everything you've done in your career to go to a club that he's got no affinity with? And I know there's money, but he can get more.
I think if Everton had finished, you know, even this season when we finished 7th,
there'd been summer, you'd have liked to got him,
then and I would say he's the man to challenge the top 6 and maybe get us top 4, because when you look at his CV. But then alarm bells from what Bayern said. As soon as I saw his name, I'm not interested. Don't want him.
No. Couple of names below that 10-1. David Moyes, no go for me. Been sacked 3 times since he left.
I wouldn't go back to Goodison.
That's done. And Sam Allardyce, 10-1. Now Big Sam has come out and said he'd already distanced himself from any job in the last few weeks, but he's now
effectively retired, hadn't he?
He's now come out and said he'd consider Everton. Basically, he wants the Everton job, for want of a better word. I could not foresee a time when when I'm happy with Big Sam as Everton's manager. I know he does what he does very well, okay, but I thought we were past this shit.
I think with Allardyce, it depends how worried you are about our current situation. If you genuinely think that we're in a relegation fight come March, April, May, then
we are at the moment, aren't we?
That's what I mean. But I still think there's 28 games for another manager to sort this out. But I'm worried, but I'm not ped worried that I'm not looking into May yet. And I think that there are other managers that can fix this. But
we only need to win 1 and 3 to stay up.
If you want to stay up, he gets you back to basics. He said, you know, we're conceding goals and we're not scoring them, and he's saying the right things that, you know, he would fix it. He's done it so many times before, but it's like Dyche. I don't think he's ready for that step, and I don't think Allardyce is the right fit for us either.
Would you take Allardyce short-term contract till May and then have a go at Silva in May? Because I think you'll get Marco Silva in the summer.
I wouldn't, because we've got Unsworth there, and for me he's the man.
I'm just throwing it out.
And I would back, but if you were able to see into the future and said Allardyce definitely confirms that he sorts this out, it gets sorted if you appoint Allardyce.
I think I'll be honest, I don't want him in any shape or form. But Sam Allardyce, Everton finished top 10, even from this position with Sam Allardyce as manager.
The thing is with Allardyce,
that's guaranteed.
Because his stocks dropped so much after what happened with England, if he can take Everton to the top 10, that really gets him back in terms of his reputation, doesn't it? But
I don't think he wants it. I just think he probably looks and goes, this is the biggest job
that's exactly
that I will ever have, because he's not going to get, with all due respect to Everton, he's not going to get any of the top 6 jobs.
No.
Right? The rest, Everton's the 7th biggest job without, it's not even a question. You know, people who'll throw fucking Newcastle, shut up. They'll throw shite like that into the mix. West Ham, fuck off. Everton's the biggest job he would get in his life. And he probably looks and thinks they've got money, the fans are great, always sell out, there's some good players in that Everton squad. I could do damage with that squad and some money. And I think he probably believes that, because he believes he could manage Real Madrid. He said that. Do you know what I mean? And he probably fucking could, because we could probably manage Real Madrid quite easily with the players they've got.
I just don't think we're at crisis point.
I don't
need him to save
I'm just saying, I think he would have Everton quite comfortably in the top 10, even from this position now. I really do, because it'd take him a month to sort out, and then it'd just be win, draw, win, draw, the odd defeat, narrow defeat, win. He done it with, I seen Sunderland come down to Goodison a few years ago. We beat them 6-2, and it was the worst team I'd ever seen. It was dreadful. Actually, no, sorry, Villa were worse a few weeks later, and they went down. Sunderland were horrendous.
I think
the same season kept them up.
There's an element of like football snobbery, isn't there, sometimes when you look at Dyche or Allardyce, but I just think, as we've said, Everton aren't in that deep of a crisis where we've got to turn and like a hero, like, please come in and save us. I think there's enough there. I think the fact we've got another transfer window, you know, as we've said, you get 2-3 wins on the bounce, and you do, it is at the moment, as an Evertonian, you say, where are those wins coming from?
Yeah, of course.
But you know, the fixture list was harsh to us at the start, which means that now it's a little bit kinder, and that's a bit of a saving grace. But you've got to start getting these wins.
We want, if we won 2 and drew 1, we'd be 12th.
You'd be
mid-table,
and it just looks a little bit brighter.
Actually, we're only 2 wins off Europe. Yeah, of course, we're a couple of wins off, but we're 2 wins off Europe. You start looking up. At the moment, we're looking, going, we can't win a game. And
in a way, it's good that we were not good, but the fact we've been bad from day one, at least with the board have been able, and the fans have been able to assess and go, look, we need to change this now, rather than getting a few more draws here and there, maybe a win, being a bit higher up the table. Really, I think the relegation zone shocked us into, this is how bad it is.
Is this why it's important now, what we do to take us forward? And this is, I suppose, why
this is like,
Allardyce isn't the right choice.
Yeah, because this next move, if it goes well, that can be the man to lead this Macheri project of, we need a man that can get us out the mess, but then is capable of getting us challenging the top 6 again.
One name who I haven't put on the thing, and it didn't look on the bet, and it just comes to me then, Roberto Mancini.
He completes my top 4 list.
Okay.
I've not read too much into it, but there were a few reports that he was a little distant. He had, you know, the
bed dropping keys.
Yeah, there were reports that he's a bit distant. He's, you know, a few things that have been angled at past Everton managers. He's got a similar personality. But he's come to a club that had a lot of money and wanted to challenge, and he's won them the Premier League title. And that, to me, I think in terms of experience, I think there are only, where I say that Dyche isn't ready and some other managers, Mancini's been there and done it. He's at Zenit at the moment. It'll cost a bit of money, but no disrespect to the Russian league, but Mancini's been in the Prem. He knows what it's about. I think if he gets that offer, he'd certainly consider it. I'm sure an extra million or 2 would, you know, he'd take it.
And he's won the Premier League title,
so for me, my 4 at Unsworth, Tuchel, Silva and Mancini. Mancini wasn't really on the radar, but then when I saw his name, you look at his credentials, and you think he could come in, and he's played with, you know, the top players before. Italian, he's probably good defensively. He's won the league
with City, so
so it's funny how managers' stocks rise and fall, and because he's at Zenit, a few people probably forget about him, but he's been there.
Still a good age, I think. He's probably only about 40.
And I think he's still probably got the hunger,
wouldn't he? Obviously.
So I think he's still got the hunger. I think he ticks a lot of boxes as well. So they're my 4. So any of them. I don't know enough about him. And it's one of them. I always think people say about Unsworth, you know, he doesn't have the experience. A Portuguese who's managed in Portugal and Ukraine doesn't have the experience of the Premier League. He knows how to set a team up, but so does Unsworth. Whereas Fonseca's coming into it cold. Unsworth knows what's going on. Exactly. So for me, I put an Unsworth above a Fonseca. As silly as that sounds, because Fonseca's been a successful manager, Unsworth for me, he ticks a lot more boxes than some of the names.
It's what's life for Everton, isn't it? Yeah. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Who do you fancy to be the manager? Has the current defeats lessened your enthusiasm for David Unsworth, or have you got someone who me and Elle haven't even spoke about? Let me know in the comment section below. Big thanks to Elle for joining me on the Tuesday topic. See you soon on Toffee TV.